Hey folks, in this video I'll give you a few tips that'll hopefully give you some confidence to help you get back out to street performing when you're ready. Maybe I can help you suppress any anxiety you might be having about performing during the pandemic. Street shows have been starting to happen again all over the world. Each city and space will be different. They may or may not be allowing street shows to happen yet, but if you're in a place where street shows are possible, these tips will help you gain a little confidence that the shows are going to work, even though you might be thinking that they won't. How do I know this? Because I've been back doing shows for almost a month now. I started street performing again at the beginning of August. Not on my regular street pitch, as it's still closed. It's a tourist destination and there aren't any tourists around there right now. But I found a beach destination where there's enough space and people to do street shows. So why am I doing it? A, because I had anxiety that people would never want to watch a street show again. I wanted to know if people were ready and willing to watch a show instead of agonizing over it. B, because I'm creating a course for street performers and I want to have an extremely fresh take on the strategies I use rather than just relying on my memory of the techniques. When writing about a subject, it helps to be taking part in that subject. C, I didn't want to forget my show. D, I just wanted to feel normal again and not just spend days trying to justify my existence. So the reasons aside, the shows are working well and I've done a lot of shows already. I've learned a lot and adjusted my show to be pandemic safe, and I have some helpful tips for you that will help you get back out on the streets if that's what you want to do. So here goes. Tip number 1, placement. Set up in a large open space that has more room than you normally would need. You're going to need slightly more stage space and more audience space than normal. If your regular pitch doesn't have a large space, you're going to need to find one that does. Number 2, your edge. Push your edge back further than you normally would. People will feel more comfortable standing on your line if you are far away from them. I could say this is a general rule that I live by anyway, but now it matters more than ever. Number 3, setting the edge. Ask people to move up to your line. Some will, some won't. Once there are people on your line, you can ask them to outstretch their arms and move apart so they aren't close to each other. Once they've done this, you'll be able to identify large free spaces and offer those spaces to people who didn't move up initially. Don't force people to move up. You have to respect people's boundaries right now. If they move, they move. If they don't, they don't. Just try and get the people who are willing to move to come up to your line in a position where you want them to be for the rest of the show. Number 4, masks. Needless to say, wear a mask to and from the pitch. Once you start your show, the audience is going to want to see your smile, so take it off. Once your crowd starts to get bigger, you got to check whether they're wearing masks or not. If there's a large percentage that aren't, you can just ask them to. Hey, since the crowd's getting bigger, if you have a mask in your pocket, would you mind putting it on for the last couple of tricks? I just tell them that the police told me to ask them that. Then it's not just coming from me, but from a higher authority. Number 5, volunteers. I spent a lot of time during the lockdown trying to figure out how to use less volunteers in my show. My regular count was 7. So I came up with a way to adjust my show so I could still do all my same tricks, but now I only need 1 volunteer. Now there's no closeness between volunteers and I can keep my distance from one person that I choose really easily. That brings me to number 6, adjust your act. Do your best to adjust your show to use the least amount of volunteers as possible. You might have to change a few things, but to be honest, people don't know what you used to do. They only know what you show them now. So even if you don't have your regular great trick, they're still going to watch you. Just try and fill your show with routines that don't use volunteers. Number 7, volunteer with a mask. If you do need a volunteer, always pick someone who's already wearing a mask. If you can't find one, look around for someone who has one around their neck or sticking out of their pocket. If you still can't find one, just say, hands up, who here has a mask in your pocket? Then choose one of them and ask them to put it on. Number 8, gloves. Buy a box of nitrile gloves or latex gloves. When your volunteer comes on stage, the first thing you need to do is have them take 2 of the gloves and put them on. If your volunteer is wearing a mask and now gloves, you're keeping them safe on stage. Once you don't need your volunteer anymore, send them off stage and point out a trash can where they can throw their gloves away. Number 9, social distance. Always keep a minimum of 2 meters apart from you and your volunteer. Put them a little bit further away from you than you normally would. This will make them feel safe and it'll put the audience at ease. Don't walk near the audience or even get close to them. Imagine you're in a little 2x2 meter imaginary prison cell and try and stay close to that space the whole show. Number 10, use buckets. When collecting money, you can no longer hold your hat in your hands because people have to come close to you. But a hat on the ground is a bit low status and impersonal. So get yourself a bucket that you can put at a social distance on your suitcase. Better yet, get more than one so people don't have to crowd around one bucket when they come up. Get one for each edge and put them out during your show at some point. Number 11, socially distant collecting. When the moment comes for people to come up and put money in your bucket, stay away from the buckets and just keep a close eye on them. Personally, I've been staying up on my rig for the entire collection. Let the audience come up on their own. You can still thank people as they pay, but just stay back away from them. Number 12, cashless tips. Make sure you have an option for collecting cashless tips. Make a larger than usual sign that can be seen from a good distance, rather than just saying it. It'll go in one ear and out the other. You definitely need a sign. You can refer to your sign in your tip speech as an option for anyone who isn't carrying cash. That way they can tip you at a distance. Number 13, don't touch anyone. If people want to talk to you after your show, just put your equipment between yourself and them. Use your kit as a social distance barrier. If anyone comes too close, just ask them to move back or move back yourself. And don't touch them. No handshakes or high fives or selfies. Number 14, handling cash. Once you've collected your money, take it all and put it inside a money sack and don't touch it again. If you do more than one show, don't count it after each show. Just put it all in the money sack and get to it later. If you have touched the money, make sure you clean and sanitize your hands immediately afterwards, before touching anything else like your phone. Don't touch the money again until you're in a private place where you can count it all up at once in a safe environment. Number 15, cleanliness. I've been keeping disinfectant wipes and hand sanitizer in my kit so I can clean my hands thoroughly after each show. I use the wipes to clean the dirt off my hands, and then I use the hand sanitizer to give them an even deeper clean and to get any of the germs that the wipes might have missed. Number 16, counting. Wait till you get home, put on a mask, put on gloves, put down an old towel, and then dump your money on top so you can count it. Once you're done counting and organizing it, put it away for a few days, unless you need it right away. I like to leave it for at least 3 days in a drawer or something before I touch it again. Put the towel in the wash, and then clean your hands thoroughly after you finish counting. That's about it, folks. I did have anxiety about getting back out and doing shows, but I fought through the fear and I did it anyway. I knew that I had to get back on the horse and to just do it to break my anxiety, like with anything. Now I feel completely confident about doing shows again, and they've been going well. People are happy to see a show, they're clapping, laughing, and paying. So if you want to start working again, you can use these tips to help you along the way to making you and your audience feel safe while street performing. From my recent experience, these steps have made me feel safe doing shows during this time, and hopefully they can help you too.